Hello, everybody. My name is Ryan Vargas, and welcome to the Formula STEM Esports Cup presented by Brightspeed Fiber Internet. As I hit on earlier, my name is Ryan Vargas. I am a NASCAR driver, actually. I've raced in the NASCAR Xfinity Series, NASCAR Truck Series, went over to Europe for a little while, and this year I'll actually be racing a majority of the season in the NASCAR Canada Series. So, got a lot of fender racing experience, nothing like these Formula One cars that we're going to be driving tonight, but really excited about this. Super excited to join the Formula STEM Esports Cup, really just because the idea of, sharing my passion for driving with you guys. I grew up a huge racing fan. I tried other sports and struggled to find the interest, but racing is just where it found that itch that needed scratching, and very, very fortunate to be in the situation that I am, and want to try and at least share that excitement with people who want to get into it. So feel free all night long to send in questions, whether it's about the racing, what we're going to be doing, specific things on the line, issues that you may have, or if you have any questions about me for some reason, by all means, I'm happy to sit here and talk to you guys, and dive a little deeper into just what we got going on. Regardless, it's going to be a fun opportunity here. So before we get into it, just want to say thank you to the folks at Spin and everybody for having me, and we'll just jump right into it. So today we are going to be taking on the Red Bull Ring. The Red Bull Ring is the Austrian GP. This track is 2.683 miles. The track record here is 105.619. The race is normally about 71 laps. We won't be doing that many tonight. But regardless, this track is one of the more cut and dry circuits that we'll be visiting on this circuit. And that's why I'm kind of glad that it's the first one that we go to, because other than a few, 90, 110 degree corners, it is a relatively cut and dry track. Nothing crazy, no twisty bits, I like to call them. Every corner connects to the last one. But what I mean by that is it's a very fluid track. You kind of know where you are at all times. Sector 1 is kind of the high speed one, I guess you could say. Just basically consists of one corner going into turn 1, hard braking right hand corner. Then you go all the way down that long stretch down there, and that's actually where the end of Sector 1 is. So you hop into Sector 2. That's going to be corner number 3. So technically that little kink is a corner. We're just going to pretend that, that's a corner, I guess. But go into turn 2, another heavy braking right-hand corner, followed by another lengthy straightaway. That's where the speed trap is right there, and that's where you're going to be able to also have your DRS. Obviously, you guys are going to have your all that stuff automatically on, so it's not going to be an issue. Heavy braking into turn number 4, and then that leads into a flowing right-hand corner in turn 5. This is really, turn 5 is where you set up for 6 and 7. The way you get through turn 6 is completely dictated by how you exit turn 5. And that's going to be one of those things that I dive heavily into as the night progresses. Same thing with turn 7. If you exit turn 6 like garbage, congratulations. Turn 7 is also going to be garbage, followed by turn 8, because you're going to be way offline and you're going to lose that tenths and tenths of seconds and maybe even seconds of seconds. So follow that by turn 8. Like I mentioned, kind of a nice flowing corner there. Then you get a nice little straightaway there into turn number 9. That's another moderately braking. I wouldn't really say heavy braking much at all. Kind of nice scrub on the brake, just to kind of get the car settled into the corner. Nice little short shoot after that, and then you're back into turn 10, which is another light scrub of the brake. No more than probably about 20-30% brake going through those corners, and that sets yourself up for that long front straightaway. So relatively cut and dry track, nothing too crazy. It should be a pretty simple run-of-the-mill thing. Does anybody have any questions about this track, first and foremost? That's one big thing that I have. Some of the things that I'll also mention on this track is the big thing that is easy to lose track of is your track limits. This place is very tempting to be all over the throttle, using up all that exit curb, making sure that you keep all 4 tires on the racing circuit, or at least 2 of them. Don't go too far off track. That's going to be the biggest thing there. So as I'm seeing some messages come in here. Question from DMs. Have I ever been to the Red Bull Ring? No, I have been to Europe plenty. I never went to Austria, but definitely would like to go here. This is definitely a track that I'd like to go to. Again, I hit on it earlier, but it's not one of the more technical tracks, but it's a very competitive racetrack, very flowy racetrack. Like I mentioned, every corner connects to the last one, and I love road courses that are like that, kind of similar to like Mid-Ohio, kind of like that. I love how that track, all the corners connect to one another. So definitely a personal favorite of mine, where it's kind of like you have a pretty cut and dry racetrack. You go out there and it's up to you on how fast you go there. So that's gonna be the big thing. The biggest passing zones on this track are going to be the straightaways. There are a lot of straightaways here, so making sure that you get through the exit is going to be a big deal. Zephyr, I don't know how to say that. MW808 said, I got a question. What is the best strategy for the turns before the final turn? So I would assume specifically 6 and 7. Let me make sure I get a good look at which ones those are. 6 and 7. Okay. So the best strategy for 6, like I mentioned, we're going to have the racing line turned on when I'm on track. So that's going to be the big thing that I want you guys to know, is that I'm not going to leave you guys high and dry. We're going to have the racing line on so you guys can kind of see where you need to place your car. But making sure that you get yourself completely offset to the right on the exit of turn 5 to set up for that entry to 6. That's going to be the big key there. Keeping the momentum up through that center is going to be important. Letting the car get all the way to the exit curb out of turn 6 is also really important. Obviously, you don't want to breach track limits. That's a very, very easy thing to do, and I've done it plenty of times. And, well, track limits there is pretty simple, because if you breach track limits, you're in the gravel. So, if you want to go over the exit lane, well, congratulations, you earned a first class ticket to the beach. So, you'll find yourself stuck there. Turn 7, again, is one of those corners that is dictated by the previous corner. If you get yourself a good exit out of 6, it's going to set you up for a good entry into 7. A nice little scrub of the brake. Probably, truthfully, you don't need too much brake. I would say that's another one of those corners where you put in about 15-20% brake pressure just to kind of get yourself set into the corner. That's going to be the biggest telltale sign there on how you get through there. And it's a pretty early pickup on the throttle for both 6 and 7. It's a lot earlier than you would anticipate. The way the ground effect is with these Formula One cars and how much grip they have, you can really get after it on the throttle. So that's going to be one of the big things that, for me, has actually been a challenge, because I'm used to the big, heavy stock cars that have no real, good downforce, right? So something with a car like this where it has all that ground effect and all that downforce packed onto it, that's going to be a true test of, all that. That's where the mechanical and aerodynamic grip comes into play. Turn 8, very simple corner, but it's very easy to mess it up as well. You could find yourself getting too greedy on the exit of 7 and kind of overshooting that exit curve and then getting yourself a track limits penalty. So big thing there, like I said, is just kind of keep a mental note of where your tires are, where your left side tires will be in that instance. You can't pass that white line. That's going to be the biggest thing. That's my biggest thing that I'll stress to everybody, is keeping your left side tires on the racing surface during that point in time. So just kind of looking at chat, not really seeing anything coming through. Let me see if I got some extra notes on this before I kick us into on-track stuff. How would I say this? So one of the things that I would do and really focus on is making sure you get good exits. And these are the key points that I want to really focus on for you guys. Turns 1, turns 3, and turns 10 are make or break. Those are going to be the corners that decide how good your lap is going to be. If you have a crummy corner there, that point in the lap where you are struggling is going to affect the entire length of those straightaways. And those straightaways, you see it on the track map here. Those straightaways are long. So if you have a bad exit out of those corners and you lose a tenth and a half in those quarters, you will in turn lose a lot of speed down the straightaway. What would be the best tires for those turns? So obviously, if you're going for lap time, obviously soft compounds are always going to be the way to go. If that's what you mean by that, soft compound is always the way to go when you're going for quick lap time and stuff like that, right? Going for race pace, that's where you go for mediums or hards and stuff like that. That question was from Zephyr again, so appreciate you tossing in all your questions. So yeah, this place is relatively cut and dry, but I think we kind of covered all the basics here. Like I said, this track, not too crazy. You know what I mean? It's a good, I would say easy. Nothing about this place is easy, but a nice cut and dry racetrack to kind of get us started. So I think right now we'll just go ahead and kick it on forward and head to the track. I think that's good, the next good call. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to hop on track, give you guys a good idea as to kind of the race line. I'm going to go real slow the first time out, the first lap around here. Move my seat forward. All right. So right here, we're entering turn 9, leading up to turn 10. This is where you kind of see the racing line. So when you exit here at speed, this is how you set up for your entire lap here. You're going to be all the way over on this exit curve, trying to set yourself up for a nice lap. All the way over here, and then you're going to get yourself a nice scrub of the brake going into this corner. You're probably going to be back to the throttle around this point. Now, this is from the laps that I ran at speed, so I could be a little off by a couple car lengths or two. Aim for these curves. Aim for this little candy cane, I like to call it. Aim for the candy cane. That's the way I like to explain it all the time. Find the candy cane, aim for it, hit it. This is the area that I mentioned is very tricky on track limits because it's so tempting to get that little bit more power. So if you're able to keep your car on track, see right here, you don't want your right side tires to go over this white line. That's going to be the biggest thing that I need you guys to focus on. Now we get through the long straightaway here. Man, these things have nice pickup. And now we're going to find ourselves going into the very tight turn number 1. So you're going to be braking really hard into here, getting yourselves a nice entry. By the time you're turning in, hopefully you've done all your braking. A lot of the things with road racing is that you don't want to be doing a lot of braking in the corner. You want to be focusing on hitting that brake on the straight line and then letting off of it and letting the car do its thing. So you're going to go through here, aim for the candy cane, come right there. Back out to this candy cane, aim for this one. Boom, boom, boom. Very easy to break track limits here again. So that's another thing that I want to make sure that you guys are very acutely aware of. And then you'll buzz on down this straightaway. As you see, it is a long one. This is why I mentioned if you get a good corner, it's going to set you up for a good straightaway. So now we're going to go right here. You're going to be braking somewhere between this 150 and 100 marker. Heavy brake into here. And you kind of see here, I kind of opened my entry. You can kind of see, so the blue line is my line. The blue line is what I ran previously. So if you ever are curious as to what the difference is in those two things, that's going to be where that's at. So I'm going to be all the way out here, setting up for a good corner. And that's when you dive it right on in here. Real big crank on the wheel. I mean, I'm turning over 180 degrees here to get this thing to rotate. That's also probably a product of my wheel not being exactly where I would like it, but I digress. It's very tight corner there, very heavy brake on the corner, similar to turn number 1, but the downside of that is you don't have that uphill. When you're going uphill into turn number 1, it's a lot easier to get on the brake because you're going uphill, so it's easier to stop. Going right there, you're not really going uphill. I think it's a relatively flat area right there. And then this area, it's actually harder to slow down because, as you can kind of see by the visual, you're going downhill. So making sure that you're all ready for this zone right here. All the way off to the left. Heavy brake here going into this zone. All the way off to the left, and then making sure you get yourself cut. Aim for the candy cane. And all the way back out on exit. Same thing here. You don't want to avoid track limits because A, you'll get in the gravel, or B, if you miss the gravel, you are probably going to lose your lap time. This is where I mentioned this was turn 5. So that was turn 5, this right-hander we just did. You're going to be all the way off to the right here. And what I mean by that is you're going to set yourself up for turn number 6. That's going to be the big thing here. Bear light. If somebody is on your outside heading into a hairpin like turn 3, what adjustments do you make without being able to make use of a wide entry? Beautiful question, which I will answer once we get to the next hairpin, because I like that question. That's actually really helpful. But this corner sets us up for turn 6, making sure you have this wide entry, getting all the way down, and this is where you aim for the candy cane, but you're going to be going really fast, so you're not going to get to that candy cane right away. You're going to get to it right here. Boom, right there. You're going to be wrapping the line right here, getting yourself all the way over here. As you can see, I struggled with it. My blue mark gets a little too wide there. All the way out to the exit curb here, and I kind of like to straddle this guy. And then another, like I said, a nice little little scrub of the brake here. Down to the candy cane, getting it pointed, nice straight drive. Right over this curb. Try not to cut that corner. And then it's a nice little straightaway here. So same thing here. Another nice scrub of the brake. This is basically the inverse of 6 and 7 there. It's a double right-hander instead of double left. So nice little double right out to this exit curb all the way as far left as you can without getting yourself in too much trouble over that curb. Aim for this guy. So now we're going to go to that hairpin and answer this question. If somebody is to your outside, so say I'm here and there's a car to my left, what adjustments do I need to make? Perfect question, because what you're going to do is you're going to brake a little bit sooner. Try and give yourself as much entry space as possible. So if if they have a car width of room, imagine there's a car width there, give them that car width and try and give them maybe just a little bit more than that, but you don't want to give them too much. It's going to take a lot more wheel going into the corner. So instead of your typical steering angle going into the corner, it's now going to be a lot more because you got to give them room and yourself room to get out of there. So it's going to be a lot more of a tighter corner through there. So I'm going to enter this corner. I'm going to do kind of an example here going into this corner. So now there's a car to my left. So I'm offline. Heavy brake early. Staying left. Kind of cutting it over. I kind of went a little too far right on there, but you kind of get the idea there. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to try and lay down a half decent lap here. Throw my seeing eyeglasses because I cannot see. And we're going to try and lay down a nice lap here. So let's see what we can do. You can see right there, get on the throttle really early. Little scrub of the brake. Lots of wheel over this curb. Now we're going to use this area to set up for our lap. All right. Let's try and see what kind of lap we can lay down here. Heavy braking zone here. Too much brake a little bit there, actually. So See, I actually let myself get ahead of myself there. Heavy brake right there. Another braking zone here. Aim for the candy cane. Aim for the candy cane. Boom, boom. All the way to the right. Nice scrub of the brake. Heavy on the throttle. Scrub of the brake, sorry. And that... There we go. And that's a lap. Let's do another at speed lap here. This time I'll quit my yapping. Missed that apex. That's going to cost me some time, as you see. See that? So that's the cost of that apex, missing that. Got really lucky that wasn't track limits there. But you guys saw where the lap came apart there. You saw that I missed that apex over in that corner. And that cost me all my time. I was faster that lap. But I wound up actually putting myself in a bad spot because I ended up losing time throughout the lap. Just because of that one little mistake. Try and make up for it here once again. There we go, better. See, look at that. Now that I got as close as I could to that curb. It wasn't perfect, but it was better. See, and that just helped the whole lap right there. Oh, that's going to be track limits. No, it's not. Look at that. Are we going to go purple? No, we're not, because I missed up the corner. See that? So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and rewind that. I want to go back here. Because I want to show you where I messed up. Because that's going to help you guys understand where and what. So, right there. Let me see. So, you see right here, and this is perfect. I'm glad I messed up here. Try to regroup my pride here. But, basically, you're going to go all the way out here. Now, here's where I messed up. Kind of see I get behind on my steering here. I should be starting to point, but I'm not. I didn't have enough wheel put into the car. So now when my car should be pointed, my car should be pointing more to the right here. It's not. I'm going straight. This is where the little bit of science comes into play here. My car, the forces on the car, everything about it, it is wanting this car to go straight. And the angle, the trajectory that I have going into this corner is what's causing me to understeer. That understeer is what's going to cause me to miss this apex. And in turn, have a bad exit right here. And that's where I'm having to make up for it. So now, when I should have had that much wheel in the first place, I only had that much. See how much? Look, watch the steering wheel at the bottom of the screen. I'm having to make up by putting more wheel in later. When in reality, I needed to put that wheel in here. Now, I believe We can flashback. We can. All right, let's try it. This is the first time I've used this feature, so we're going to learn on the fly here. I actually like this. But let's try it. Oh, God! They just threw me right into that. See? That looked better, though. Try and lay down another one here. Used up a lot of exit curb there. A little bit more than you would like typically there. See that understeer I keep getting there? That's product of me. And see right there, there's the track limits. So what happened there? I'm going to show you exactly what just happened there. So this is a product of me overdriving this corner here. I'm making my mistakes so you guys can see what to do different. So right here, here's where I mess up. There's two things that I do wrong here. Number one, so this blue line is the optimal line. That is the line that I ran previously. That was really fast. Here's where I mess up. At the bottom of your screen, you kind of see a little bit behind those buttons. I turn in. I turn in too early. So now already I'm compromising my center speed because I have pinched off the beginning of the corner. By pinching off the beginning of the corner, what I did there was I made this car go into an understeer moment. And now what I'm also having to do, you could see it in the wheel. I'm having to open the wheel a little bit more. Got it closed, got it closed, got it closed. And now the car suddenly cuts. I'm having to, the car's wanting to snap now. So now I have to rapidly unwind it. And now that, again, compromises the exit. So now I am pointed the entirely wrong direction. And at the rate of speed I'm going, there's no way I'm going to properly make that exit unless I completely just jam the wheel to the left. But you see it right there. That right there is your track limit. So let's go ahead and try this corner one more time. I'll try and lay it out as best I can. Better. Still overdrove that entry, but better. All right, now let's see if I can lay down a mistake-free lap. By the way, I've tried to get the squeakiness out of my pedals. Haven't been able to figure it out. Better on the exit curb there. The last lap I really got over those, and that really abused the underside of this car. In real life, that would be a no-go. Better. Not good, but better. Ah! Track limits, and that's by me getting greedy. But yeah. Do we have any questions while I'm out here doing these laps, burning these laps and getting track limits? That's the NASCAR driver in me messing us up, is the fact that us NASCAR drivers, we use up the track. See, us NASCAR guys, we be all the way over here. And then cutting right back over. Oh, man. Saw a couple things loading up, so maybe we'll have some questions here in the near future. But yeah, no, I'm glad that those are happening because I'm able to go back and analyze it in the moment. The only thing that's a little different, so I'm a iRacer through and through, so this is a newer game for me, so I'm learning on the fly. But this is a very fun game. I very much enjoyed my time doing this. We'll go ahead and try and lay down some more laps while some more questions roll in. We'll try lay down a flying lap on the fresher tires. Because remember, tire wear is also going to come into effect here. So one of the questions I just had roll in, what are the differences between F1 24 and iRacing? Well, F1 24, give me a minute. F1 24 is more of a simcade, so it has a little bit of elements of simulation, while a little bit of elements of arcade. It has, varying abilities to where you're able to change your assists. Like for me, I have a couple assists on, as you see, driving line and all that stuff. You got ABS, throttle control, all that stuff. Those are things that you could put into this thing, and also the obvious being the career mode and all those other things. iRacing is just straight simulation. Now you can have the racing line in iRacing, but that's about the extent of assists, if that makes sense. Ooh, this might be a decent lap. I think I'm a little slower, but that might have been okay. Don't know what it was. Now that lap, I cut it. This is an example of messing up. See what happened there? Aimed for that candy cane. Too much. I go full throttle on turn 7, I'm pretty sure, at gear 6. Is it slow or fast? Well, here, let's do this. Let's make some changes here. Why don't we? Return to garage. Let's do this. Because I had the thing in automatic for teaching purposes, and also the fact I haven't had a chance to really test out the gearbox. But let's try it. I want to experiment with this actually. Now that we're here, this is where you guys are going to learn my lack of knowledge in some of these things. I'm a lot too slow on the upshifts. Way too slow. I was way too focused on the shifting. I like this though. I like it without the automatic. It's nice. Way too slow. All right, 4th, 5th, 6th. All right, I'm gonna go full throttle through here in 6th. That's also because I have the assist. You know, I don't know if I like that. I don't know if I like that. Let me go back and try not to suck. And let's see what that does. All right, let's set up for this corner. But that corner, it did it pretty well. I kind of want to turn off the... Let me fix something here. Now you have me curious. I want to try something, see what we can learn here. Let's learn together, right? Brake assist low off. Let's turn the braking assist off. Ah! I forgot where I was at that time. All right, let's go all the way back. I don't know how I feel about that. You said wide open, gear 6. I would say you're doing more of a detriment to yourself than actually laying down something that's comfortable. Let's try it again. I'm going to keep attacking it here. See, I think here's what I think you're going to deal with here. I think the biggest thing that I think, or I could see at least, is when you have your throttle input in the center of the corner like that, you're going to basically push your car into oversteer. And what that's going to do is it's going to overwork that right front tire. So right now, at this moment, could it work? Maybe. On softs, at optimal temperature, at optimal everything, maybe. I would give you that. But I don't think it's worth doing. I think you're better off coming off the throttle a little bit, maybe giving a little scrub of the brake if needed. If you're able to go wide open through there in 6th gear, you know what? Props to you. You're better than I am. But right now, I don't see it being feasible. Now I'm going to try to run a lap without the brake assist. Now I'm going to suck. I'm going to be exposed right now. That's not too bad. God, I'm so slow on the upshifts. It's fun though. I love it. Ah, right front. That's not good. You don't want that. Yeah, I don't see a way to efficiently do that. So I'm going to say myth busted. I'm going to say myth busted on that. I think it's definitely an intuitive way. I think it's kind of smart, truthfully, to kind of experiment like that. But I don't necessarily think it's the way to go. I'm going to put a little bit of brake assist on because I need it. I do like the manual gearbox though. I do like that. So let's try this. Let's try and hop into like an AI session here. We're gonna find out how much I don't know. What is a good lap time? So my best lap was a 105.85. That was my best lap. I know the track record in real life here is not too far ahead of that. Mind you, I kept some assist on. I ain't gonna lie to you. There's a reason why I keep the assist on because really, I'm just here to kind of teach the fundamentals, and also I gotta learn this game a little bit better. They're saying they did a 104, 105.619. That's the track record. Yeah. So, 105.619 is the track record. So yeah, 104 that's blistering. So you're already doing really well. So I think that's gonna be the ticket there. So keep working at that. Let's advance. How do I? Oh gosh. I love this track though. Definitely one of the like I said, cut and dry. You know, I wouldn't say it's wouldn't say it's a, like I said, too crazy. World Cup. Oh, wait, no. 124. There we go. Let's be max. Hopefully this sends me to the right track. It does not. It's sending me to Bahrain. Now we gotta wait. How's everybody doing? All right, thank you. I don't care about the starting grid. All right, there we go. Gee whiz. Okay, pull the clutch. I love the standing starts in this, by the way. I love doing standing starts. It's so fun. Whenever I do hop into a race and I see that the setting is set for standing start, not rolling start, I get so excited. All right, what do I? There we go. I knew I was messing up. All right, we're going to be max. What assist do I want? I don't really need much. I want a little bit of braking assist just because I don't want to keep locking up. Start event. Let's have some fun. So we're going to load into an AI race here. You guys are going to watch me get my butt kicked by the AI. We'll have some fun. Ooh, is it wet?
Welcome to Spielberg for another exciting Formula One race. This
I'll let this
circuit
play.
is renowned for its backdrop, surrounded by natural beauty, and it certainly is an idyllic destination.
Overcast, dry. Whew, thank God.
It's one of the shortest laps on the calendar today then, with 7 rights and just 3 lefts, making up the 10 corners of this high-speed circuit. Turn 2 is barely a corner at all. They'll be flat out through there, a left-hand kink into the uphill braking
It is
zone
uphill.
in Turn 3. Turns 1, 3 and 4 are all potential opportunities to overtake. So with the race not far away from starting, here and alongside me today, former Formula One driver and former world champion too. See, told you I'd give you a big intro. Anthony Davidson, hello.
Clutch in,
RB.
hold until lights out. Let's build the revs up and hold.
I don't know what the optimal RPM is.
Okay, clutch out, go, go, go.
I don't know why it's this camera angle. Hold on. Okay, there we go. Ah! So what I'm trying to do here is get the slipstream off of signs. Sorry, bump and run.
Okay, be careful with the front wing. You've taken some minor
Thank you, engineer. I love this game. You could definitely catch a couple guys out there.
can now use DRS. DRS now available.
That's what we like to call in the industry a dive bomb. Doesn't really work really well when you miss your shift points, though.
Watch out for understeer in the wake of the car ahead. Try to get past as quickly as you can. Push, push.
Try and get a little DRS here. Woo! Understeer in the wake. And by that, really what it is just you're behind that car, you're getting the draft off of them on the straight, which is great. But if you're stuck behind them in the corner, you're going to lose that downforce on the nose because all the air is being taken off of it. So in that situation, you do kind of compromise yourself when you're behind them. So getting yourself out in the air is very important. And that is one thing I really appreciate about the F1 games is they really are very serious when it comes to making sure they emulate those real-life aspects. As I keep missing that corner. See, I think going into 5 there is a little bit better. Wow, I missed that corner.
Great work. That's a new fastest lap of the race.
See, that's also a product of not having the right shift points there. But I think we kind of get the point. Kind of have the AI set a little too low there. Let's see. But yeah, no, that felt really good. Let me make sure I hit all the points I need to do. Make sure everything's all good. No, but I'm pretty, feel pretty good about this. I really enjoy this. Let's try and do another restart though. Now that I kind of know the intricacies, and I'll try and speak on what I'm doing as I'm doing it. So really what I did there was I just took the outside lane and I rolled a little bit more momentum through the center of the corner than everybody else around me, Piastri! Missed my shifts. I got so scared about hitting Piastri that I forgot the downshift. See, in these corners here, I do caution against passing because of how high paced they are. I feel like doing that, you compromise yourself and the car behind the car that you're passing. When it comes to getting past once again. So that's one of the things that I do worry about if you were to attempt a pass in those areas, because if you bottle yourselves up in those corners leading onto that long front stretch, it could really hurt Jiminy Charles. Wow, I need to set these AI a little harder. Oh no, my wing is cracked. See right here, I'm just taking a little bit out of line, trying to take a little bit of a shorter route. Crossing over, out of his line, out of his wake.
Brilliant, nice move. Keep going.
Ooh, too many gears down there. I don't think that was low enough, actually. After this lap, we're going to call it a day on that.
Good job. That was
So, I think I'm going to call it on that one. So, basically, kind of want to hear what you guys think. Any questions from those of you guys in chat? I know I'm not the most perfect guy when it comes to Formula racing, but I do really enjoy this type of racing and being able to apply some of the knowledge that I have from stock car racing, because at the end of the day, it's still four wheels and a motor. It still takes a little bit of that same strategy. So happy to answer any last questions. But other than that, we kind of covered all the basics. The AI was set way too low there. So I'm going to kind of explain a little bit of things that were going on there. One of the big things that I did into turn 3, so that hard braking right-hander after that second straightaway, when I entered on that first lap, and I went around the outside of those cars, that is a move that I love to do in real life a lot. And basically what you do is you almost offset your car out of line and open up your entry longer so that you can get to the outside of a car and try and roll that center speed just a little bit more and get to their door. And if you get to their door, you're there. You are there. You're able to compete, contest that position, at least in the racing that I've done. And so I'll basically do that move to try and get to the outside of guys and then take them off their optimal line. Because now they're having to back their exit off. They're having to wait on the throttle and really try and basically give me space. And now they're kind of at the mercy of me. So yeah, that's kind of where I have found a little bit of success there. So yeah, other than that, like I said, last call for questions. Any questions from anybody in chat? I appreciate those of y'all hanging out today. This was a lot of fun. I actually really thoroughly enjoy this. This has been a blast. Am I sparkling water? Sparkling water. But all right. Well, yeah, if that's it for questions, then I think that's a good place to wrap up. So, no, I appreciate you guys all hanging out here today. Race day coverage starts next Tuesday. So, sorry, this upcoming Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern. If you are in high school and you want to join us, you still can. Be sure to register at racing.staypluggedin.com. For all racers, make sure you are checking the event Discord to make sure when you want to meet on Tuesday for prep and all that other stuff. So for that, again, I'm Ryan Vargas. It was a pleasure to hang out here with all you guys, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you guys for hanging out, and yeah, see you soon.